Hello, good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to ibmtv chess show. My name is Sasha Starr, and we are going to have a lot of fun today because my guest on the show will be James Eade, who is a renowned chess organizer, publisher, master level player, and we are going to have a lot of fun describing chess and show you some interesting games and maybe even play a game or two. So welcome to the show.
Hello, Sasha. Thank you for
How
having
are
me.
you today?
I am doing well. And how are you?
Excellent, very well. And let's start a show today. Actually, no, it was on 14th of May. It was a birthday of a first official world champion of chess, Wilhelm Steinitz. Um, he was not only the world champion, and there are two versions. One that he was from 1886 when he won his match against Zukertort, until 1894 when he lost to Emanuel Lasker, who was enormously strong practical player. However, there is another version that he was a world champion from 1866 when he defeated Anderson. So, if that version has merits and accepted, then he was a world champion for the longest period of time in all history of chess. We're talking about 28 years, whereas Lasker was a world champion for 27 years. However, it's not really accepted theory. It's arguable, but the accepted theory is that he was still from 1886 and he beat Zukertort. Now, it's very interesting evolution of a chess game of Steinitz because he started as an attacking player in the style of Anderson. And when he defeated Anderson in 1866, of course, Anderson was an older player at the time, and Steinitz was practically very, very strong. He was playing very sharp attacking game, and he defeated him. But later, when he moved to London, and he was the editor of the best-known chess magazine in London, for a few years, actually, he left a practical game to concentrate on a theory of chess, as he was unsatisfied that although he was playing very sharp attacking play, um, a very sharp attacking game, he didn't have an algorithm how to always win the games, or at least majority of games, because whereas he was attacking and winning a lot of beautiful games, but so he was losing quite a lot of games, and it was very unclear to him in his mind. So what he has to do, what is the algorithm, how to develop the attack so it would be successful attack, not just by chance or waiting for opponent's mistake, but it would be really sound way. And whereas he left practical chess for a number of years, he developed his theory, which is basically grandfather of today's chess. So all the positional play, what he developed a theory that you cannot just attack simply because you feel like it or because you want to attack. There has to be a sound positional principles which would allow you, by building the small advantages, by having, say, an open file, with a better pawn structure, better development, two bishops, and small advantages, number of advantages. You know the theory of two weaknesses. If your opponent has only one weakness, he can more or less successfully defend against it. But if you have two or more weaknesses, then you can maneuver your pieces to exploit each weakness and both of them together, and then you can build substantial advantage and attack and so on. And that's basically what he developed. And when he played his official world championship match against Johann Zukertort, who was fantastically talented, not only chess player, he was a very talented man. He was a doctor of medicine. He knew several languages. He was a brilliant man. and he was playing an old school attacking game. And actually, he exceeded in that game. He defeated Anderson by playing that style. But Stainis' theory and his approach to the game proved to be more sound. And he, although he was losing at the beginning of the match, I remember they played in New York, in St. Louis, and mm, I forgot the third place. Was it?
In the
Was
South, New Orleans?
where?
New Orleans?
New
In the
Orleans.
South?
You got it. Yeah, yeah, the birthplace of Paul Murphy.
Yes.
And so finally he won this game, the match, and it was an incredibly um, um, fighting affair because if I recall, there were no draws. I think he won 8 games and he lost 6 games. So it was really fantastic championship match. So the game that Jim, would you like to show the game? Or I will show and you will comment on this
Very good.
game. It's a game against Van Bardeleven, who was at the time, he was one of the top 5 players in the world. And the game was played in the first biggest chess tournament in history at the time. It was Hastings in 1895.
Yes.
And we are going to see this game. Of course, Steinitz was past his prime at that time, but he was born in 1836, so you can imagine he was almost 60 years old when he was playing that game. But it still makes one of his most beautiful games ever played. So now I would like to share the board.
May I make a couple of comments about Steinitz? Because
Yes, please do.
I agree that he was the grandfather of positional chess, and he taught us strategy. And it dominated for a long time, the Steinitzian way of thinking about how to play chess. And I think that although the official title of World Championship has been up to various organizations and recognized only by certain people at certain levels, it was generally considered that Anderson was the best player in the world. And when Steinitz beat him, it was, to my way of thinking, he became the best player of the world. And of course, Morphy has since left the scene when this takes place. So I would fall on the side of Steinitz was the world champion earlier than he was officially recognized as the world champion.
Agree.
That this game made a great impression upon me when I was first learning chess. And as we know, Steinitz was considered a theoretician. His principles of play were positional, but this showed this tactical brilliance.
Exactly. And what's interesting, it's not only his positional style of playing, although as you see in this game, he was a great combinational player as well. It's that he was a foremost chess philosopher, where he was not trying to find the best move in every position. He had principles of modern chess. Basically, he developed the foundation on which the next generation of players from Lasker to Capablanca to Botvinnik, they all basically followers of Steinitz teachings.
Yes, we in America, we always called it the Morphy Anderson were romantic chess era. And after Steinitz, it was the classical period.
Yes, exactly. So let's go to the game, right?
Okay.
So, we're going to see the brilliance. I would like to make sure that everybody sees the board.
I can see it.
Okay. So the first move is e4, followed by symmetrical opening. And now we are going into Italian game. It's a classical variation, so to speak. And although lately was found a reputation of this move order, however, knight c3 was played. And what do you think, Jim, about this position?
Well, I think this is Steinitz's principle is to dominate the center. So he has occupied the center with 2 pawns, and he has brought his knights out to their optimal squares for where they can influence the center. And his white squared bishop has developed to its perfect position in terms of dominating the center. So white, in terms of Steinitz's theory, is dominating the center.
Okay. However, black starts counterattack the center by move d5.
Right.
So it takes.
A big change on it. And
right.
I think the question is, when you strike at the center like this, like black has just done, is there a cost?
Mm-hmm.
Can you successfully do this? And
that's a question. So,
yes.
So Steinitz, by castling, he is definitely going for a strong the development advantage and initiative.
Yes.
So black has to already be quite careful here. So
the first principle was dominate the center. The second is to develop. The element of time is very important in chess. And the element of time is to get your pieces developed to their optimal squares as quickly as possible. And Steinitz is doing that even at sacrificing a pawn, potentially sacrificing the pawn on eventually knight takes and pawn takes and bishop takes would win a pawn, it would seem.
Yes. Okay, so black, so far black's playing sound moves, bishop e6. Now bishop attacks the queen, black defends. Now exchange, another exchange. And all of a sudden, black has difficulties to complete his development because he can't castle easily. So he has to prepare his castling by playing f6 because knight e5, knight g5 squares are protected now.
But even now, we think there's a weakness. There's f6 has been provoked because otherwise you cannot complete your development. But there is a weakness now in the light squares around the king. So
exactly.
Yes.
Well, he was trying to prepare escape king to f7 and then rook e8 or so on. So queen e2 emphasizes one more time weakness on e7, and it's now very unclear how black would finish his development. So he defends knight. And now, after c6, looks like black will survive. He needs a couple of moves, king f7, rook e8, and he should be okay. However, here is the next move. Look at this move. Wow. Pawn goes unprotected to a square where he can be taken by queen and pawn. Queen is impossible because of checkmate on e7, but pawn should take it, right? And black does exactly that.
Now you have opened the lineup for the rook. So now you have exposed the c file for the rook's presence. The rook can now penetrate into black's position.
Yeah. So now another very strong move. Knight is threatening to go to f5, and black will be defenseless. So that's probably the only move to continue the fight.
Truly the only move.
And now here's a huge weakness on e6, and white immediately jumps to exploit it. So black is trying to challenge white on c file.
That is almost forced.
And now the great threat is queen takes g7, pawn with easily winning position. So this move is obviously a must.
Correct.
And now next move is all of a sudden check. Obviously, you cannot take the knight because you're losing your queen.
Right.
Okay. So next move is forced. And now
this was the startling move when I was first studying chess. It did not occur to me to play rook takes knight.
Yeah, it's an incredible move because obviously you sacrifice a rook, which is worth 4.5, and some other point system it's worth 5 points, and you sacrifice it for knight, which is say 3 points, right? But don't forget that knight is the only real defender. So now this defender is gone. And of course, you cannot take it with the queen because of rook takes rook.
Yes, this is
the rook, right?
The back rank weakness that white has is being exploited.
Right.
And So the queen looks like it could be captured one of two ways, but it cannot be captured because the rook on c1 would be taken with mate.
Yes, exactly correct. So black moves his king to f8. Now it's white's move. So what is the real threat? What white can do to harm black so much? Well, look at next move.
Look at this.
Look at this beauty. Now another check with the rook. Now king cannot take because it's protected by knight, and queen cannot take it because rook will take on c8, and then queen will take on c8 with easily winning position. So what to do?
The queen is pinned to the rook on c8. It cannot. It must defend it, but it cannot. So it cannot move to capture the rook. So this is a brilliant execution of the pin as well as the almost looks like a mating attack now.
Yeah, and black has nothing better than again move his king. So what white should do now? What is the real threat? You cannot take a queen because you will get checkmated on c1.
The back rank weakness, yes.
Well, here comes the next move, again check. And again, there is a choice to take it with the king and with the queen. And both are losing because king takes rook, you take queen with a check.
With check, so
and then then you destroy the other two rooks.
Yeah.
So the only move is again to play with the king.
But the same problem, the queen cannot take the rook.
So, and here comes the final move. Rook takes pawn check again. Look at this.
This is amazing to me.
Yes, and at this point, Bardelevan resigned. It's a brilliant game. It's one of the best games of all times.
I've always thought so. And the amusing thing to me is that we think of Steinitz as this great theoretician, and he taught us how to play strategically. And here he is showing tactical brilliance. So it's not something that I had associated with Steinitz so much as until this game.
Okay, that's quite an interesting game, and obviously shows the richness of chess as an art. Because who remembers? So the point is, okay, so he got the point for the game. So there are so many tournaments, there are so many games. Somebody won, somebody lost, somebody made a draw. But very few games are really becoming part of chess history and chess as an art. And this game is one of them.
Yes, I think it is our culture, our combined shared culture in chess, and this game is part of it. Wherever you grow up, you know this game.
Now, besides some great games, there are some other games which I will show you shortly. It's the most shameful game I ever played in chess. It just happened the day before yesterday, but I will show it a little bit later.
Man. I will not show you.
Oh my God, my wife was laughing at me for 15 minutes after this game that I will show you shortly. But first, Jim, let's just have fun. We'll play a couple of blitz games.
Oh, okay.
We can talk during the game and so on. They're unrated, so any result is fine. I'm ready to lose both games. But I will try to win, I must say, as best I can. So if I will, hold on, I have to share the screen.
This will be the first blitz game I have played in years, just to give myself an out.
Hold on, that's the right screen. I'll get the right screen in a sec.
Blitz used to be my favorite way of playing, but then I got older and I was not as fast as I was when I was younger.
Okay, so now you can see the board.
Yes.
So I find Jim, and what I'll do, I'll challenge you. 5 minutes. So here comes the challenge.
I will accept.
Thank you. Oh, I have white now. Oh,
you have white.
Okay, let's start. E4. That's how Steinitz played his game, right? Okay, I'll play classical style, so to speak.
Not so classical.
No way. I'm doing whole classical moves.
Oh, this way.
Yes, yes. I always play this move. I saw it first. David Bronstein showed me this line.
This is interesting. I have not played against this. So let me
Well,
take a moment to think. And my first
mhm.
instinct is to attack it.
Yes, but you know what? I don't need to defend. I will attack you.
Yes, that's what I was expecting from you. And now I have all of my book knowledge is out the window.
Well, books have a lot of mistakes anyway, so don't rely on them. Okay.
So having said A, I will say B.
Okay, that's a position where you really must think. What's the best way to do it? You know what? Let me play very developing move.
Well, I am very scared now, so I will attack your queen.
Oh yeah. What else is new?
And now you are going to cause me some problems.
I will try my best. I will cause as many problems as I ever can. Okay, now my queen is hanging. Who would think of that? What a pity. And I have to be careful because you may have some threats. But I'll play this anyway.
Ah,
So that's an unusual position, I must say.
yes, I was not expecting that, so I'm going to just be cautious.
Well, in chess, you always have to be cautious. Of course, I'm not a player that you have to be feared, but I may have strong attack after this.
I am afraid. This now I am worried. All right.
Okay, now I have to do something about my knight. And the most obvious move is just to play bishop.
That makes the most sense to me.
Yeah, I think it's obvious move.
So now I'm worried. Very worried.
You know what? There is such a strong temptation that I can't resist it. Play queen h6.
Yes, and I have the temptation to defend.
Yeah. There were no doubts in my mind that you will do exactly this move. So, okay, so what's the right way to play this position? First of all, okay, so I have a few ideas. Your bishop on e6 is pinned. The checkmate, I wish I could checkmate you, but I don't see how I can do it.
The checkmate, no. But I do
No,
see
there is no
the
checkmate.
weakness. You have pinned my bishop to the queen, and my bishop is only protected by the queen. So that concerns me.
Yeah, but how to gain something out of this? I really don't.
Yes, I don't know. I'm not going to encourage you. Okay.
No, well, I just have to finish my development because
That
my
is
pieces are
reasonable.
not
You cannot
coordinated.
argue with that. Oh, wait. Should I do that or should I do this?
Yeah, that's sound move. Obviously it is. And what can I do here? I'd like to move my knight. Now to take on e5, I will help you to develop better pawn structure. I don't want to do that.
You do not.
So maybe just to wait a little bit.
Yes, this is what I was expecting, and I'm not certain what I do.
But there are no real threats. I mean, White's position looks very promising, but I really don't see I have something going.
Yes, I am going to allow you to take that bishop, I believe.
Sure.
Because I like my knight where it is.
I totally agree with you. I wish, you know what, I don't have enough squares available to my queen, unfortunately. I just don't. So, how to proceed? Okay, you have a little weakness on d6, so maybe I'll just play this move, trying to centralize my roots, and now I have threats against, potential threats against d6 pawn, and also your e-file is it's okay now, but maybe I can exploit it a little bit later.
I want to force the screen away, but how do I do that? And I'm getting very confused, and I don't have time to be confused. So
The time is everything, especially in Blitz games, as we know. So, okay, it would be nice to exert even more pressure on d6. For that, I have to remove my knight from d4. Oh, well, now, or, what's wrong with relocate my bishop?
interesting.
Yeah, and I'm attacking your pawn on b4.
Yes, you are.
A friendly warning. Okay, that's a great move because now you have freedom to harass me. However, I will harass you too.
Yes, that is harassment.
Yeah, but it's not sexual harassment, right?
No, no.
Just a chess harassment.
Yes, it's more like you're just sniffing my hair. I think, do I want to do that? I have such bad pawn structure. No, I don't.
So
Okay.
your pawn on f6 is hanging, and it's a critical pawn, because if I will be able to take it, then you will under pressure. Okay, good. You defend it.
I am mostly forced to move now because of time.
Oh, you know what? What's wrong with taking your pawn on before? And I was telling you about that a couple of moves ago. So that works. However, you built a great defense with knight on f7, protecting all the black squares. It defends pawn on d6. So, but I still have a better pawn structure, and opposite color bishops also, I think, in my favor in this position.
Yes, I want you to take my bishop, but you won't. Oh, and
not yet. No. I think I will take it one day, and that day is coming. I think. Okay, now we are talking. Okay, look at this. Okay, I have to regroup because this attack just doesn't work anymore. Okay, let's just go back.
very reasonable.
No, I have extra pawn now, so I don't really have to play for attack. I can now play a little bit positional chess for a few moves, trying to consolidate. Okay, I understand what you want to do. And you know what? Let me play this move.
So you just will not allow me.
Okay, you relocated your bishop to a very fine square. Okay, that makes sense. Knight comes back, and I don't like it. I'll tell you the truth. First of all, I think I have to just defend the pawn and then do something else. Some other people, like, for example, Alexis Shirov, he would never play a move like b3, I'm pretty sure.
No.
Probably he would rather die than to play this horrible move.
See, I don't want you to kick my knight out.
No, your knight is welcome to stay there for many more moves. I have no doubt, no problem with that. I see. Wow. So I might as well take it.
You are a pawn up. And now, if I had any grace, I would resign.
Well, you lost some time anyway.
Yes. Very fitting.
Okay, so why don't we play rematch?
Well done.
Thank you.
All right.
Okay, now you have white pieces. I know. Okay, d4, yeah. I was thinking a lot about this move lately. It's really one of the strongest, probably the strongest moves.
It's my favorite. Fisher said e4 best by test, but I prefer.
And you know what? I play something unusual.
All right.
You play London system.
I play London system because it's I mow my moves in advance.
Yeah, you can make about 8-9 moves without thinking.
Yes, without thinking.
That's right.
Do I want to do that? Yes, I do.
Sure.
Yep. All very reasonable. No criticisms yet.
So far, both sides have very sound position.
Okay, and you're going to play that. I know you are.
No, I'm inviting you to play something active finally.
I know.
I'm not sure that I will succeed. Now you have a really good game. So what do I do here? Okay, let me play some horrible moves.
Oh, that doesn't look right. Okay.
No, it's very provoking move.
Yes.
See, I provoke you to play for a checkmate.
And then
Okay.
now I'm provoked.
So,
Yes.
why did I do that? That's a strange move. That's really strange move, you know? Okay, let me try this move. Can you imagine we played 13 moves without any exchanges so far? So let me start.
You ended our streak.
Yeah, I have to do something because otherwise my position is very, very passive. It is. Okay.
Yes.
That should work. I'm surprised by move knight e8. You know, I was thinking about any other moves except this one, but I think I just got my mouse do it for me.
Yes.
But that's okay. It can be relocated. Okay, I have to be careful.
Yes, that's good preparation.
Yeah, my position can go downhill very easily.
What should I do?
Well, I invite you to play for a checkmate, but you don't. Okay.
No.
Now I understand why I play knight e8. Okay. Now it makes sense.
After all this time, it's making sense.
Finally, it took me so much to figure out that. Am I losing right away after this move? Probably not.
Probably not.
I hope not.
I don't see why you should be.
I wish I could take your pawn on before.
I thought so too. That's
right.
right.
My knight was hanging. Yes, that's a problem. But
yes.
You know what? Let me try to do some active play with this move.
What should I do with that? What should I do?
Well, your knight is hanging. One way or another, you have to either protect it or take it away. Okay, you protect it. That sounds right to me. Okay, so what do I do next? That's unclear. There are some options. There are some options. Okay, I'll make a silly move.
Well, that gives me little choice in the matter.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, I expected that. So now you closed queen side. So in this case, I have to play for a center.
This is a good move.
Well, I was preparing it very hard by move c5, c5. However, what to do now? I think I will take this way because I don't want to open your bishop. It can become really cumbersome. Okay. Now, what to do now? Okay, why not?
You have the superior game. There's no question.
Okay, superior game is not enough to win the game.
It
But
is
you know
not
what?
the same. Not the
I'll
same
give
as
it a try. Okay, that was expected. Okay, now I have a choice. For example, unclear.
That is a good move as well.
Thank you, Jim.
But let me think of this, though. I am not yet ready to give up.
No, the game just started. Okay, let's exchange this. And now I will relocate my knight to very important square.
Yes.
Because with knight on b3, you would exchange. But this way, Mao knight is quite powerful. Okay, you have to protect this. Now what to do? Well, you know what? Let's play some active chess.
Good move. Good move.
Okay, the position is very complicated. I have to take. Wow, you have triple pawns.
Not for long.
Sudden, you got that. No, it's good.
That is a good move
Have
too.
to take with the rook.
Very good.
Oh, wow. Wow. That's quite unexpected. Okay, my pawn is pinned and you're threatening to take it. What to do? I'm not so sure what to do, by the way. I'm not so sure. Okay, if I will play this. Not that I like this move, but okay, I'll play it.
Having said A, I must say B.
Okay, let's go for attack. Your pawn on e5 is quite strong, though. You have to be careful here. You want to exchange queens? Should I allow you or should not?
You should not.
You're right.
This is excellent. Well played.
Okay, what do I do now? So, okay, you don't have real threats. Okay, so I can take pawn.
Oh, I'm sorry. I blundered.
Yeah. Of course. Okay.
I got too far in the future. Oh, well, you're so nasty. You're just a meanie.
Well, there are some real threats. Oh my God! Did I miss that reply? Probably. So how to solve this?
It's very tactical.
It is for sure.
Yes, that is the move.
Okay, Nairana. It's a draw 1-1. Okay, Jim, that's fine. We had a couple of interesting games at our moments.
Oh, I am so rusty, but it was fun. That is the key to playing chess, is to have fun.
Hold on. Now, I said something about the games that I wanted to show you. I played it actually a couple of days ago. I was honored to talk to a super grandmaster by the name Alexei Shirov.
Fire on board.
And I showed him sight a little bit, and then he offered me to play a game. How could I decline? Absolutely not. And no. Do you see the board? Do you see my game?
I do.
You do?
I do.
Okay. So Alexei Shirov has white pieces. Obviously, he starts.
That's not fair. He should have given you the white pieces.
Well, listen, I'm ready to play any pieces with the Super Grandmaster.
Anytime you want to play someone like Shirov, you do what they say. Yes.
Yeah. So, okay, I played c5.
Yeah.
I like to play Sicilian, but you know
Real.
what? A lot of people are using this move. It was
Yes.
used by
Caruana.
Isha Anand to play.
Anand.
Yeah, he played against Gelfand, and yes, Caruana played it against Carlson as well. So obviously, it's a sound move. Now, this is not very popular move for I think obvious reasons, which you will see very soon. But in Blitz, I normally prefer this because at least the game goes on its own. Although there is some theory, but I'm not so crazy about that.
Just play
And
knights. I would.
here comes a killer move, c4.
Ah,
I wouldn't say that that move wins right away. I wouldn't resign this position for black, but it was unexpected. It was uncomfortable for me. So I started to think, okay, so what to play? What to do now? Okay, so I played knight d4. So if he will take, my pawn will go on d4, and white might be a little bit uncomfortable with this pawn. So look what Sheriff did.
knights.
This, knight c3.
Yes, that's crying out to be played.
Yes, because there are some tactics with 95 or so on. And you
Right.
know what? Now I think I should have done e6 probably, just to be a little bit on the safer side. Instead, I took on b5. You just thought, okay, that's a nice move
All
because
right.
if knight takes b5, a6, I should be okay. But Sheriff has something else in mind. He's taking with the pawn. Okay, I was not too worried about that. So, in order to finish development, knight f6, maybe g6 or so on, I played a very innocent-looking move, d6.
Ah,
Prepared knight f6, but it's a little bit too slow because white has
knight.
this reply. I was not too worried about that, so I'm taking knight takes and knight f6. I have sort of some kind of a Sicilian game. But look what happened.
Knight d5. Yes.
95. He doesn't take on d4 to my horror. He's playing 95. So, okay, well, I gave check, bishop d2. So I decided,
So
he's
he's got
attacking.
three pieces out, and you've got your queen out.
Not only that, my queen goes all the way backward to d8.
Yes.
Oh my God, that kills. And now he plays rook, queen c2.
Threatening knight
Um,
c7.
it's 10th game of the game, and it's the last one.
Yes.
Because C7 is undefended,
Yeah.
and I didn't feel like playing Super Grandmaster in this position any
Yes.
longer.
I would understand that feeling. Yes, very well.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
this is embarrassing, but good for you for showing up and playing such a strong player.
uh, it is very embarrassing. I must tell you,
Yeah.
it's very disappointing. I mean, of course, I would lose any game against the Sheriff with both colors.
But you want
But,
to develop your kingside pieces.
well, I think
All your pieces are where they started, except your knight, which is taken.
well, Jim, I think Black prepared his pieces for next game. I guess
Yes, you
that's the
already
best
set
way you
them
can
up.
put it. Very easy to set up for next game.
White's got
Yeah.
all the work setting his pieces back up.
Okay, so that's a tragedy about this
That
game.
was
Okay, listen, I
well.
after that game,
If
my
this was
wife
a
was laughing at
serious
me.
game, it would be a tragedy. But in a blitz game, this is just another. You know,
How
you got
many
taught a lesson.
games in my life I can play against Alexis Shirov? Not too many between you and me, right?
Right.
And to have one of these games going like that, oh my God, you're almost crying. But then, you know what? It's a part of your life. It's
Yeah.
you win some, you lose some, right?
Yes, I had the opportunity to play Grandmaster Larry Christensen, and when when I said he said how much money, and I said, oh, I don't like to play for chess for money, and he said, okay, 1G4, and I said, all right, so I threw down $2. He wanted to play for money, and otherwise he wasn't going to take it seriously. So,
Mhm. Wow, that's really interesting.
yeah.
Um, So tell me, you obviously met quite a lot of very strong players, grandmasters. What are the most memorable meetings you had with them or
Well,
encounter?
yes, I have met many grandmasters, and not as many as you have, of course. But my favorite experience to tell about is the 1995 Pan Pacific, which I organized in San Francisco, and we had wonderful players. It was won by Victor Korchnoi, and meeting Korchnoi was very, uh, you know, I was kind of starstruck just meeting him. Um, and I found him to be very entertaining at a certain level. His wife Petra was also there, and she was a kick. She was fun to hang around with because she wasn't playing, so she was just hanging around with us. And I enjoyed her company immensely. But one of the times we were using the FIDE chess clocks, which this is 1995, so they were brand new kind of thing. And at one point, Korchnoi stood up and said, "Nothing." And of course, we were all looking around at each other saying, what does nothing mean? And what he meant was that the battery clock had shut off, so there was no display on the clock. And so we gradually figured it out. But him standing up in the middle of the tournament hall saying nothing fooled us for a while. And the other lesson I learned was I had arranged for a cable car tour for the players around San Francisco, because San Francisco is famous for its cable cars. And Korchnoi came up to me and he said, of course I cannot pass up this opportunity, but you schedule it for my nap time. And I was very much taken aback, because now I learned from that moment on to not just schedule. The organizer just doesn't schedule events. He checks with the players to see if they can participate. And it was a good lesson for me to learn. And of course, Boris Golko was also in that tournament. And I spent a lot of time with Boris at that tournament and others, including the US Championships. And he is a very good man. And I was spent a lot of time communicating with him on various levels. And one of the things that he told me, which really opened my eyes, was that he said, when he was playing in the Soviet Union, because he was a refusnik and he was on hunger fasts in order to get out. And he said, when you're in the Soviet Union, you do not know what your life is like compared to the outside world. But when he got to go to tournaments in Argentina, for example, he would see that he doesn't have to live like this. He could live a different way. And it made him realize that he wanted to leave the Soviet Union at the time. And of course, he went on the hunger strikes. And I asked him, did it matter that he was well known in the West? And he thought it didn't matter a great deal, because he couldn't merely disappear because he was an established player and was known throughout.
He was a member of Russian Olympic team, and he played in some international tournaments. Yeah, he was very well known player.
Yes. So, the first world champion that I ever met was Boris Spassky, and he was a true gentleman. From what I could tell you, in the United States, we had one ambassador for chess, the Grandmaster Larry Evans. He could go on TV and make a good impression. He was articulate. He was relatively handsome, and Boris Spassky checked all those boxes. And but you have known more world champions than I. Have you not?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, basically, I was thinking about yesterday, by the way, and I can recall that I met all Soviet world champions, starting with Botvinnik, and then, of course, Spassky, Petrosian, Tal, Karpov. Did I miss anybody? Kasparov, of course, yeah. Well, I don't consider Kasparov to be a Soviet world champion. I consider him ultimate world champion for all practical purposes.
Correct. Okay.
You may say the same thing about Karpov, but Karpov was world champion while he was, of course, in Soviet Union, and he never left Soviet Union for all practical purposes. But the first grandmaster I ever met was obviously Yefim Geller, because he was from the same town, Odessa, where I was born.
Yes.
And what I remember about Geller is that he was very often he would come to our local. It was a house officers club, and there was a chess section, and he would come, and there are some masters and candidate masters. They would analyze some positions. And once somebody told Geller that there is finally a refutation of two knights defense, and Geller was particularly strong in two knights defense opening. And so Geller asked him, okay, show it to me. So he showed him, and there was some on 11th move or so. There was some kind of a new move. And Geller says, "Well, I can play this move, and the game is still going on." He says, "No, it's bad because of this and that and that." Geller says, "Okay, sit down. Now make your moves." In 6, 7 moves, the game was all over. So okay, he said, "Yeah, I made a mistake. Let's do it one more time." So they set up the same position. He starts making move. In 6, 7 moves, the game is all over. So it's happened 6 or 7 times, same thing.
Yes.
And finally, they realized that it's not because of that opening move, it's just because Geller is way stronger player.
You could get anything and he would still beat you.
Yeah. So that move really didn't matter. He was just way stronger player. That's just as simple as that. That was very interesting.
Yes. You could show me invitation to anything, and players like Geller would beat me.
And then we had a very interesting time after a Montreal tournament of the stars. If you remember, in '79, Karpov shared first prize with Michael Tal. And after the tournament, and we were in Montreal, and we spent a lot of time with Tal, and really enjoyed his company. He's really something else. It has to be probably a special program about Michael Tal. But after the tournament finished, they all went. Tal went straight to the United States. He had arranged some exhibition, and it was a famous story. I didn't witness that, but I just read recently that he was taken to New Jersey to do simul, which he did, and then the organizer asked him to have dinner. He said, "Well, you know what? We have time to go for dinner to Atlantic City." So Atlantic City, casino. He says, "Yeah, of course, let's go." So the organizer gave him only $500. Say, "Okay, this is all what you can lose, $500, and then we'll go for dinner." So the Tal said, "That's okay." So he put $500 on black. It came black. Now here's $1,000. He leaves all $1,000 on black, and it comes black again. Now he's up to $2,000. So the organizer said, "Okay, let's go." He says, "No, we just started." He leaves all the money on black, comes black again, $4,000, and one more time it's $8,000, and one more time $16,000. Now he switched all $16,000 on red, and it comes red, $32,000. So everybody was watching this, and they were all impressed. And he left it on red, and it came black. He lost $32,000. And then he said to organize, "Okay, now it's time to have a good
day." When would he have stopped if he kept winning? When I was betting, whenever I doubled my money, I would take half back and put it in my pocket. And then I was playing with free money. And if I lost it, okay, I still had the money that I came with. But all gamblers are different too, as all chess players are. And
but you see, Tal didn't care about. He never cared about the money at all. He never knew how much money is on him. He never knew. He was not absolutely interested about money. By the way, very interesting. In the St. John Festival, 1988, where Tal became a Blitz World Champion.
Yes.
And there were Karpov playing and Kasparov, the best players of the time. So his first prize was $50,000. Mind you, Canadian, but still $50,000.
Yeah, in those days.
So he was given a check, and then he asked me to help him to check this cash. He was not sure what he's going to do with the money, but obviously he needed cash. So fine. So we went to a local bank. They looked at me and said, $50,000. We never had so much cash in our bank. I mean, I said, well, this man is leaving to Moscow, so he needs cash. What else is he going to do? So they were kind enough as to send a car to visit all their branches. I think it was Scotia Bank. So they visited all the branches in that little town of St. John's, and they got $50,000 and they brought it to the bank. Tal was very happy. Then he asked my wife to buy some stuff for his women.
Yes.
And she bought something. He didn't care even what it is. Just spend as much money as you can, buy something nice. So, so he really didn't care about money much.
Yes. But, Tal, to me, was the true artist of that era.
Absolutely.
And you and I think of chess as an art, and there's much in the world now. They're trying to make chess a sport, and there is a sporting component to chess.
Absolutely.
But I think that the sporting aspect of it will make it popular, and I can't argue with that. It seems to me that perhaps that is the way to emphasize it. But I prefer to think of the enjoyment of chess and the aesthetic pleasure that I get from seeing moves, like the game, the Steinitz game. The first time I played that over, the aesthetic quality of the game was what made an impression on me. It wasn't whether he won the tournament, or whether he won money, or none of that mattered to me. I was a young boy, and what mattered to me was the brilliance of the game, and that was the attraction to chess for me.
Well, there is a funny story about speaking about money in chess. There was one Russian team championship, and it was many years ago. And Bronstein, at that time, they had adjournments. So Bronstein adjourned the game against Smyslov in a slightly better position, but draw would be the most expected outcome. At that time, they were solid grandmasters in the local tournaments. They were not really paid. They were giving 50 kopecks. It's like a little talon, it's a little piece of paper that would allow you to buy some food in the local cafeteria. 50 kopecks, it's not even 50 cents. It's like next to nothing.
Right.
But that was time like that. So in any way, the game was agreed to a draw without resuming play. So some people start accusing Bronstein, how come he agreed to a draw? He had advantage, so he at least could try to win. And Bronstein replied, do you want me for 50 kopecks to beat world champion?
Yes. It's not worth his time.
Yeah.
That's but in America, what happened after the Fischer boom, when players my generation became serious chess players, and really there were hardly any masters to be found before Fischer, and then all of a sudden strong players emerged, inspired by Fischer. And then what happened, instead of playing chess for chess's sake, they started offering amateur prizes. And so players who weren't even that strong were competing for cash prizes. And the organizers found that if they offered prizes to there were more not so strong players than there were the very strong players. So if you offered them cash, you got more people and more entry fees. So the organizer made more money. And so the poor great player was, playing for kopecks. And the players who were not so in their class were playing for as much money or close to as much money. And it just inverted the idea of what chess is all about, to my way of thinking, in America. And it was an unfortunate turn of events, but it's the capitalist way. The organizer wants to make money,
Oh, listen, it has merits, obviously. And I can't complain because I remember I played in New York Open 1987. And that was, in that tournament, was playing our friend Vladimir Tukmakov from this, and very young, I think he was 18 at the time, Vasily Ivanchuk.
Hmm.
I think it was his first tournament outside of Soviet Union. And Tukmakov introduced us to Ivanchuk, and he said, absolutely 100% is a future world champion.
Yeah.
He regarded him very highly.
Yes.
And it was before the last round. I was playing in the expert section, 2000 to 2200, and we had lunch with Tukmakov, and so we talk about different things. And then I told him that I'm planning to win my game because in this case I can win some cash prize. He said, "You're playing black. How you are planning to win?" He said, "Very simple. I play something what I never played in my life, so I wouldn't be scared of any opening novelties. So because I don't know any novelties, it's a new opening for me. So why would I know?" So
Ah,
I played, and he asked me, "What you gonna play?" I will say, I told him, "I will play Dutch defense. I never played it in my life, but listen, but when it was playing, I think it's a sound opening, and let me try." I won that game in 20 moves, and I won over $1,000. I think 1250 or something like this. And Tukmakov was impressed that I was so confident, and, uh,
yeah.
and I won that game. So that felt quite interesting.
But the New York Open was a wonderful tournament, and it was wonderful because great players would come to it and play in it.
Right.
And so players such as myself could play somebody so, that you only had read about. And now
Mhm.
you see them and you had the opportunity to play them. But Ivanchuk, was he, in your opinion, was he the greatest Ukrainian player? Or is there someone
Mm,
that you would put above?
obviously, he is a top one to consider. Of course, Geller is Ukrainian player by all means. Um,
Geller
but
was afraid of him. I think he was one of those people that did not have a fear of Fischer. I think.
well, Geller had a plus score against Fischer.
Yes.
He won 4 games and lost only 2.
Yes.
He's one of the very few players who had a positive score against Fischer.
Right.
Apparently, the next one who had a positive score, I know that Korchnoi had even score. They won 2 games each
Spassky before the match had the plus.
before the match. Yes, not after the match.
Not after.
Yeah, and especially if you consider second match in 1992.
Yeah.
Okay, that was. But I want to tell you something. Something bothered me about. Remember, we had a conversation a couple of days ago about someone was upset that you didn't consider Fischer to be the greatest player of all time. And I was thinking about that a little bit more. And I'm telling you one thing. Here's something what I'm extremely upset about Fischer. And you know what it is?
No, I don't.
Fischer, after he won his match with Spassky, he was bombarded with all kind of very lucrative the endorsement proposition, where he could make millions of dollars just endorsing whether it would be Coca-Cola or General Motors. So it doesn't matter what, because
Right.
he was real star at the time.
Yes.
And you know what he did? He refused all of it on the ground that he didn't feel that it's right that somebody will make money because of his name. It doesn't matter that he would be paid millions of dollars. He just rejected because somebody else, somehow, maybe his agent or people who would do production, somehow they would make a little bit of money, and he was resenting that.
He felt he had a victim mentality where he thought he was being exploited. But they
Exactly.
were paying him. They weren't exploiting him. But it had to make sense for them to pay him that money. So they wanted to make money too. And this is the way that Fischer's mind worked. He did not understand that it could be good for both parties. He only thought it had to be good for him and
And only him.
yes.
So I think by doing that, he inflicted a very serious damage to chess, to its prestige, to its financial standout, to perception of the game, perception of the leader of the game. Just It's just not right. I started to think about it. I was really furious for Fisher to do that. Never mind his later mental illnesses and all that stuff. You all know about that. But listen, there's a man and there's his legacy. Obviously, he's one of the greatest players of all time. His games are brilliant, many of those, but you have to separate. It's like if you take somebody, a composer like Wagner,
Ennio,
who had so many controversies as a man, but
yes,
his music speaks on its own.
that's
Who's
correct.
interested about Wagner's shortcoming and craziness when his music is just mind-boggling?
I couldn't agree
It's
more.
obvious.
Yes, and in Mozart, they make this movie Amadeus about trying to show that what a character he was, but it was his music that was the point, not the man. His music. And
Yes,
with
yes.
Fisher, it is not the man; it is the games that are.
Have you seen? It's not a very well known movie, but I saw it 2 times. It's so
Ah,
fascinating. By his name, Forget Mozart. Um, it's a movie about actual death of Mozart. Its funeral. Uh, he was in the modest mm, territory of this local cemetery, very unremarkable tombstone. And then there was a discussion in high society, and there was a Salieri, and there were other well-known people, and they discussed that it's uh, it's so great thing that he finally passed away. You don't understand that. First of all, it's unclear if he would continue to live longer, if he would written so much wonderful music as he's done. Number two, if there is a Mozart, who are we? We are nobodies. We are imposters. We are absolutely giftless musicians. But now that he's dead, now we are back in business. We can now write music. We can do something, and people will not say Salieri. Oh my God, what is this?
so Larry could have been a great composer if he wasn't competing against Mozart.
Yeah,
His legacy may be completely different if he was born at a different time. And
yeah,
but the amazing thing to me is that the chess, like music, uh, they have prodigies, people who are born with the ability to understand and recollect what they've heard, and someone like Capablanca could learn chess by watching his father and his uncle play, and these young people who have got no formal training are brilliant, and this is something
exactly.
you see in music, you see in mathematics, you see in chess, and very few other things.
But there is one thing that you have to be mindful of. The great prodigies in music, um, they were brilliant musicians, but not composers. They could become great composers later on in life, but not when they were 6 years old.
No, I understand.
No,
Yeah,
but as a musicians, as performers, they could be just as great as possible. And so is chess. Like Samuel Reshevsky, when he was 8 years old, he was taken on tour in Europe just to show his brilliant play. In my opinion, one of the explanations is that basically music and chess are based on something what we call recognition of patterns.
yes.
There are a lot of patterns in music, harmony, if you think about that, and of course in chess, coordination between pieces, the weak squares, and so on. There are a lot of recognitions of patterns, and that a kid of 6 years old could just as master as the adult player.
They could be sponges for the pattern recognition. And I have always said pattern recognition is the key to a chess player's skill.
Mhm.
You can study and study and study, and if you have no pattern recognition, you will not progress very far. And
That's
the ability to have pattern recognition can get you very far without that much study. Um, but I have found in my life, jazz musicians especially have had an affinity for chess. I've never met a jazz musician who hasn't also enjoyed chess. And I think there's the beat to chess. You move, I move. You move, I move. And the jazz musicians liked the offbeat.
You know, next time we'll play Blitz, we have to have jazz music on background. So
there you go.
It would increase our creativity. I want to tell you some story about jazz music. Many years ago, in Toronto was a jazz club by the name George Spaghetti House. And they had the best jazz musicians they were playing. And on Mondays, there were no cover charge. So I had a friend of mine. He was a coach in gymnastics, and he was a very well-known coach. He was a coach of the national team for one time. And every Monday, he would go to George Spaghetti House to listen to jazz. So he always invited me to join him and so on. So one Monday, I decided to go and join. So we went, really very pleasant atmosphere, fantastic players. And we were sitting together. And I discovered, to my horror, that as much as he enjoyed jazz, because if he wouldn't enjoy jazz, he wouldn't go there every Monday. So obviously he enjoys it. But he had no clue who are the musicians, what piece they're playing, what is the improvisation, what is a double improvisation, what's really going on. He had no clue whatsoever.
Yes.
And I asked him, wait, how can you enjoy it when you just don't understand what's really going on? He said, it's you who don't understand nothing. I'm sitting there, it's dark, it's a fantastic atmosphere. I have a bottle of beer, and I can sit there listening to very good music and enjoy my beer. And then I ordered another beer. And then I enjoy another beer, and I have a fantastic evening. I'm away from my wife, from my family, from all the troubles, and it's the greatest time every Monday that I have.
Yes.
And I started to understand one really thing, that as much as you understand and know about whether it's music or chess or something else, it doesn't really matter. You can enjoy on any level where you are.
I tell these people that I teach, if you play against someone roughly your own strength, you can have as much fun or more than Kasparov and Karpov when they are fighting for the world championship. They are working, and you can have fun and just enjoy the game. And it doesn't matter what your rating is. You know, the rating, who cares? It's the enjoyment, the beauty.
Great. Jim, to finalize today's discussion, I want to tell you, obviously, you know the song, Love is a Many Splendored Things, right?
Yes.
Now, I can say the same thing about chess. Chess is a many splendid things. Because you can enjoy chess by playing the game against your friend or your enemy. You can enjoy analyzing the games. You can enjoy watching the games played on a very high level, or not so high level, but anyway, you can enjoy that. You can enjoy commentaries. You can enjoy books written about chess. You can teach chess. You can study chess. There are so many things.
Yes, as long as you're literate, you have the chess literature. That opens up a world to you, and you know the old saying. And I'm preaching to the choir here: chess, like music, has the power to make people happy.
Absolutely. Who said that? Do you remember?
I think that might have been Tarash.
Yeah. Yes, you got it. You got it. As a matter of fact, I was going through because I was trying to refresh my knowledge about Steinitz and his time, and Tarash was one of the greatest players of that time, and he was a medical doctor, and he was a formidable player. His match against Chigorin, if you look at the games, are of the highest quality for sure.
And his book, The Game of Chess, it has stayed the test of time. It's still as good today as it was when he wrote it.
Yeah. Jim, thank you so much for participating in our today's discussion, our show.
So
it was my great pleasure, and I hope we will meet anytime soon. Okay.
Thank you very much.
All the best, and all the best to our listeners. And we'll talk to you next Saturday.
Very good.
Bye-bye.
Bye.